Hey everyone, I'm Joe Russo.
And I'm Anthony Russo. We're the directors, and we're here with
Chris Markus.
And Steve McFeely, and we are the screenwriters of Avengers Infinity War.
This is the audio commentary for that film.
We're going to try to avoid talking about how tired we are.
But we're tired.
I'm actually renewed energy.
Nice.
This was an amazing surprise, by the way. And we had this idea very late in editorial to ask the amazing Sir Kenneth Branagh to come in and do the opening distress call over the logo that carries us and sets the stage. It carries us into the scene with Thor and Thanos and Loki on the Ark.
This is a movie that starts immediate res, right? Like it's so packed, it's so jam-packed with stuff that you have to use even the opening credits to tell story.
Yeah, well, that was the intent. We had done several iterations of the script over about a year and a half, 2 years. Very early on, deciding to turn it into a sort of smash and grab heist movie, told from the point of view of the lead villain, who's Thanos. And we wanted to keep the plot very simple, with very simple MacGuffins, because we have so many characters in the movie that we knew if the plot was complicated, it would take too much story real estate to explain the plot. And that would take away from the character interactions, which we knew would also be the highlight of the film.
It gets complexity by weaving of simple plots.
Mm-hmm.
The plot itself is very simple.
Yes, he's got stones. He needs to collect the stones.
Yeah. And a lot of people will be surprised to know that this is the ship at the end of Thor Ragnarok that the Asgardians escape on.
Even in death, you have become children of Thanos.
I think this is a good example of how things change tonally when you go from movie to movie and story to story. You know, this ship in Ragnarok was very brightly colored. You know, it had the vibrancy and whimsy of that film, which works so very well there. We are telling a very different story here, so we redesigned it with a different texture and tone to support this story.
Moral of the story being never have the Russos redecorate your house.
Yeah. We'll burn it down.
And it's also an example of we're starting this script in January of 2016. There's no Ragnarok script. There's, they're in various stages of development. And so, the first scene of this movie changed a bunch. And until we figured out that they were going to end on a trip, off of a destroyed Asgard, we didn't know where Thanos would find
We
Loki.
did know we wanted Thanos to come to Loki.
Right.
And we would find him we have drafts of him in any number of places.
That's right.
And the concept being, of course, that the movie is told, and we've talked about this, that it's told from the point of view of Thanos. The movie begins with Thanos. The movie ends with Thanos. And
it's his hero's journey.
It is his hero's
That's
journey.
the only way we could figure out how to put everybody in the movie.
All the major beats of the journey are Thanos beats.
Including his ultimate sacrifice with Gamora and
must
the
be
Soul
said would never have worked without Josh Brolin, without Dan DeLue, making Thanos come to life.
Yes, I mean we should talk about the VFX department. And Dan DeLue did an amazing job on this movie. We knew that we were sunk if we couldn't get Thanos to be photoreal and to get all the nuances of Josh Brolin into that character. So I think they literally are playing with technology, this mapping him to the molecular level. And which is why I think Thanos is so interesting in the movie, is that all of the subtleties of Josh's performance are coming through in his face and his body.
And he got the benefit of a lot of work ahead of time, right? People are working on how to create Thanos before there's even an outline, because we know that he's going to play a major part in the movie. He'd never gotten that attention before.
Yeah, I think we probably spent 2 years working on Thanos.
The first visual effects test in the development stage was Thanos, because again, we knew it was so central to what the movie needed to be, and also its level of difficulty was the highest.
And here you see the early establishment of just how fearsome Thanos is, even without. He's got one stone here, but I don't think he's using it.
He's not using it.
Right.
This is to show that Thanos, the Genghis Khan of the universe, is unbeatable in one-on-one battle. He's conquered thousands of worlds. He's much more polished fighter than the Hulk, and he dismantles the Hulk fairly quickly.
And Thor and Loki.
We always say that scenes need to do more than one thing. And in this movie, more so than any other I think we've done, the real estate is precious. So this is a scene that establishes Hulk's journey. He's been defeated and doesn't particularly want to help Banner over the course of the movie. It establishes a vengeance story for Thor by taking out his brother and arguably his best friend. It establishes the plot for Stone Collection.
And I will say, just to interrupt that, we just had a callback to what had once seemed like a bit of a paste job, which was, and excuse me, to mourn Idris Elba.
Yeah, Christy.
In Avengers 1, where Thor comes back saying that Odin used all his dark magic to get me home, and people said, oh, that was just a cheat because you broke the Bifrost, and you just saw where the dark magic came from. Straight out of Heimdall.
My humble personage bows
Now, we should talk about the deaths in this film. Obviously, I think we're all very committed to stakes. We said before that we feel like nothing has value unless it has an ending, that this movie represents the final chapter of a book that's been told over the last 10 years in the Marvel Universe. Part of what we wanted to do out of the gate was to unsettle you as you're watching the film. You're sitting in the theater thinking, most characters in the Marvel Universe have been safe for a decade, and we wanted to knock you off kilter and make the audience understand that the stakes were going to be significant and the cost was going to be very high in the movie.
Mm. And in that regard, this scene does away with a lot of things from the ongoing MCU. That was the first MacGuffin from the first Captain America movie, just got crushed and stuck into a glove.
By Tesseract.
Right.
And shortly, the villain from the first Avengers movie
Arguably the best villain in the MCU.
will achieve a similar end.
Aside from introducing Thanos as our sort of lead and POV in the movie, this scene also very heavily kicks off Thor's arc in the film, who arguably may have like the second most complete hero's journey in the movie.
I would argue that it correlates, right? And that if Thor actually had put the axe in Thanos' head, that the movie would have belonged to Thor, but he did not. So the movie goes to Thanos.
The one thing that's wonderful, one thing I think we all really responded to about Thor is where he's left at the end of Ragnarok with the destruction of Asgard. And we all have a history, obviously, with the Captain America character. And I think there's an interesting connection in that Cap was also a character who lost everything. And there's something fascinating about exploring these people as you strip away who they are and their built-out identities and find out what's left. And I think we're going through a very similar process with Thor in this movie, especially with the scene. We're sort of completing the experience that Ragnarok brought to Thor in the sense that we're taking the rest of everything away from him, everything that remains. And it's a very, he's starting with nothing after that point and trying to climb his way back. It's a very underdog arc, very rousing arc, I think, road that he follows, very empathetic.
And here, the great Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, Tom did an amazing job with this scene. It's heartbreaking to watch. Thanos is violent and cruel. It's interesting because as Thanos moves forward in the film from this moment, once he disposes of his armor, he almost becomes a holy warrior, where he doesn't spend a lot of energy intentionally trying to murder people unless they're in some way a threat to his agenda. But almost no one ends up being a threat to the agenda except for Tony, who I think has this sort of existential connection to Thanos. And we'll get to that when we get to that scene. But it's the one moment where he is actively, since brutally murdering Loki for disobedience, where he actively is going to murder someone for standing in his way. Of course, he sacrifices Gamora, but that is to obtain the Soul Stone.
And remember, he had a relationship with Loki, even if it was off screen, where he entrusted him with a duty in Avengers 1, and Loki failed. So
he's making him pay.
Yeah. Thanos has a long memory.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then the, a tragic journey that begins for Thor starts here.
And we should say several Asgardians have escaped.
Several Asgardians have escaped. I've gone on record saying that Valkyrie has escaped with some of the Asgardians.
Mm-hmm. All I can say is pray for Korg.
The arc that Thor's hero's journey it started in all of his previous films. It includes the death of his mother, death of his father, death of his sister, and now the death of his brother and the death of his best friend Heimdall. That is what motivates his arc in this movie. He's on a revenge arc, and his job is to create the weapon that the audience hopefully believes will ultimately defeat Thanos.
I wouldn't say no to a tuna melt.
There's an immense amount of architecture and heavy building. There are certain small lines that appear in the first draft that stay throughout, and I wouldn't say no to a tuna melt. Has been there since the beginning.
Inexplicably. But that's an example and we've said this before, that this is not a movie that, does 5 and 10 minutes of what the Avengers are doing before the story comes to them. So I can only think of these two beats really early on, where we catch Tony and Pepper in the park, and we catch Strange and Wong about to get a sandwich, and that's it. And everybody else comes into the story when the story is asked for them.
Yeah.
Right. We tried versions where we got a lot of people and their daily lives catching up on people, and this movie couldn't support that.
Thanos is moving too fast.
Yeah.
Relentless pacing, viscera.
Yeah.
Morgan.
So you woke up and...
It's interesting. We had a phrase in the room that we would call strange alchemy. And it's not in reference to Doctor Strange, but in reference to the word strange. So call it weird alchemy, peculiar alchemy, interesting alchemy. We knew that this movie in particular, being a crossover event, that what would be some of the most entertaining stuff in the movie is how these characters who have never interacted before would interact. And this is, in fact, the first scene where you get to see a cross-pollination of characters. So a lot of the work that we would do, the four of us in the room together, would be talking about what are the interesting combinations between characters. Well, Tony Stark is a man of science and a narcissist. Doctor Strange is a man of magic and a narcissist. There seems to be a very compelling conflict of personalities there.
And it's in contrast to perhaps the oldest relationship in the MCU.
Right.
Tony Pepper.
Right.
And 2 out of the 3 of those have amazing goatees.
I'm sorry, you giving out tickets or something?
We need your help. Look, it's not overselling it to say that the fate of the universe is at stake.
And who's we?
I should say no shit, Sherlock.
Oh my God.
Everybody really wants that joke.
Why didn't you reference it?
It's a meta joke that requires you to
Yeah.
be a fan of other movies.
It's also a very obvious joke.
Mm.
Not that we can't be accused of having made obvious jokes before,
Sure.
but I guess it is our movie, so we can pick and choose the obvious jokes we want to put in it.
So we have exposition now and again, right? This is a movie that rewards your investment. If you know the other movies, I think you have a greater chance of being delighted by it. If you're fresh to these movies, we need to hold your hand a little bit early on and tell you about the stones and what they might do and how valuable they are to the story.
And what better way to do that than through magic?
Right, right.
Now, what's interesting also in the film is that 2 of the characters that the audience ostensibly cares a lot about are carrying around stones. So they're MacGuffins, Doctor Strange being one, Vision being the other.
Wipes out half the population. He said Loki.
Had we invented the idea of Infinity Stones in a vacuum, I'm sure we would not have decided there were 6 of them.
Yes.
6 MacGuffins is a lot for a story.
We should talk about why did we decide to push Xandar off screen?
Oh, yeah.
We wrote versions of Thanos attacking Xandar, and it had a similar purpose in the script to what Nowhere does now. It was a place where Thanos and Gamora encountered each other. But the fact of the matter is, you know exactly what... If Thanos went to Xandar to get that stone, you know what happened. A big battle, and he got it.
His attempt to not be repetitive.
Yeah.
We decided to cut it from the script. And as you said, start in the middle of the story.
And make every stone collection an emotional moment. Sometimes it's because there's a person who's either wearing one or has one in his head, and sometimes it's because of
what
who
you need
Thanos
to do to get
encounters
it.
there,
Yeah.
what you have to do to get it, who you might have to sacrifice, etc. So it was always, as I said earlier, scenes need to do more than one thing, and every stone collection scene is going to be plot based, but we wanted them to be deeply character based too.
We know where it is. Vision is out there somewhere with the mind.
Speaking of character, we are about to get to a long-standing character conflict built from another little movie we did called Civil War, which is Tony is about to realize that the one person who could help him is the one person he least wants to talk to.
And he luckily carries around the burner.
It is convenient that
A flip
he'd
While
been
jogging.
charged. Yeah.
Fully charged.
That's right.
Well, to be fair, we did have another scene between Pepper and Tony that illustrated where the phone came from.
That's right.
But it was a reshoot scene that we then opted to revert back to the park scene with. So
Also, to be fair, if Captain America had given any of us a burner phone to call him, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it would
it's not
be
going in my sock drawer. And just to sort of underline between lines here, when he says Steve might be able to help, it's because Tony knows that Wanda is on the run with Steve, and he knows that Vision has been stepping out and maybe having a relationship with Wanda,
Right.
and he has been cool with that and probably not called Vision to task for it. So Tony knows a lot here, even if we don't sort of make that clear to the audience.
Tony's too intelligent and has too big of an ego to be a stooge to the government. He will take whatever byproduct came out of Civil War and use it to his own advantage and to keep the Avengers alive in a way that he feels like, is the less the compromise, the better for him. So I think, he has not been actively pursuing bringing Steve Rogers and Natasha and Sam and Wanda to justice. He has, in fact, been turning the other way.
Yeah.
Not at the moment, no.
So this may be hard to believe, but we've shot this whole long one shot on the lot at Pinewood Studios in Atlanta.
With green screen.
Do you want to talk about some of your influences here in sort of designing this?
Yeah, it was the idea here was to embed you with the characters to heighten the tension as they move up the street. Also to ground the film and present this really giant spaceship in a way that came from your point of view and the character's point of view collectively. I would not deny that Spielberg was a big influence on this sequence.
He's pretty good. And here
we get asked about this all the time. How do we get the hair?
We finally revealed.
Oh,
Tom Holland's
I never
arms
asked.
stand up.
Well, in our New York Times anatomy of the scene, we finally revealed. A lot of people think it's a CG shot, but it was actually achieved by a very gentle blowing on Tom's ear.
Here we see Peter Parker upgrading his web shooter. It's got a Stark Tech appeal to it. Wraps onto his wrist. And again, here we go. We're adding characters to the story. Thanos is the glue that binds them, and he's pulling all of the characters towards the stones.
Try to evac anyone south of 43rd Street. Notify first responders. Will do.
Doctor Strange's power level, we could talk about. From the books as a kid, what I loved about Doctor Strange is that he always had a mystical, spiritual side to him that seemed to know more than all the other characters. And I found that very entertaining. And, we wanted to advance his power levels since the end of Doctor Strange, because it has been a few years, and that he's been doing his work and he's a diligent study, and he is now one of the more powerful characters in the Marvel Universe.
I'm surprised at the reaction. I shouldn't be, but he generally comes off as the adult in the room, very reassuring, and that regardless of what happens over the course of the movie, I think Strange might know how this is going to work out. I have faith in him.
Yeah.
Well, you need that kind of character in a movie like this where there's a lot of spinning plates, and a lot of the spinning plates are off balance.
Let's get lost, Squidward.
He exhausts me. Bring me the stone.
Danny, you want a piece?
No, not really.
We have now moved from the soundstage to a actual street in Atlanta, which they were gracious enough to let us light on fire. And here we see the beginnings of Bruce's issues.
Where's your gun?
I don't know. Should have been having a thing.
There's no time for a thing. That's the thing right there.
This was an interesting journey that we went on with Banner, trying to decide how to move him forward in the Marvel Universe. What makes him unique as a character is that, there's a host body that is being fought over by two distinct personalities who hate each other and both want control of the host body. And so we thought an interesting direction to take him in is, well, what if Banner, who typically uses the Hulk to solve crisis situations, what if the Hulk were no longer interested in solving those problems for Banner, so that the relationship is becoming increasingly dysfunctional? And that's what's going on here. People have speculated whether there was some fear on the Hulk's part about having to face Thanos again, but I think ultimately what it is that he's tired of playing hero to Bruce Banner.
And again, with a movie with 23 named heroes that you know from other movies, one of the challenges is to give people the briefest, complete arc. And so that's Banner has to rely on himself is essentially the one-line brief arc for him in this movie.
Yep.
Tony, you okay? How we doing? Good, Pat?
Really, really good. Really good. Do you plan on helping out?
I'm trying. You won't come out.
Talk about Ma a little bit. He is inspired a little bit by Mephistopheles from the original.
Right, we
Starlin
pull
books.
a couple lines from him.
There are some directly quoted lines from the book that we put in his mouth. Black Order in particular, we worked hard to adjust them to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the Hickman run, I thought the characters were too powerful, and nobody wants the sub-villain to outshine the villain. And we adjusted their power sets so that they lined up in a way that was more interesting with our heroes, which is why Ma is a wizard.
He's from space. He came here to steal a necklace from a wizard.
I think we decided he's a techno mage.
Yes.
So he can move.
He can control things at a molecular level, yes. As long as
And he's also a fantastic performance, too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tom Von Lawler.
Remember, again, in the story structure and the design of the thing, we did not want to have Thanos himself going to 6 different places, punching 6 different people in the face, getting 6 stones, movie over.
Well, we also, not only for repetition, but you don't want people to fight Thanos until the very end.
By the way, there's a little link to Raiders of the Lost Ark right there.
Yes, exactly. Wanted to show that the time stone, this is very big for Kevin Feige, make sure that his greatest weapon was certainly on his mind, and he tried to use it, but Ma was one step ahead of him.
Yeah, these characters, the Black Order can certainly find the stones, and if they can find the stones, the assumption is that they know an awful lot about the stones, and they're prepared, Ma in particular, to not be undone by the time stone.
Kid, that's the wizard. Get on it.
The relationship between Peter Parker and Tony Stark is integral to the emotional core of the film, and it's one that was set up in Civil War, continued in Homecoming, and it's furthered here. And it's a father-son relationship, and one that will ultimately end up being exceedingly painful for Tony.
Circumstances sort of force them to move forward into a more complex place with one another.
Tony tries to save him, tries to protect him, and actually he does save him, sends him home. Kid's too much of a hero for that.
Speaking of loyalty.
Yeah. Ew.
Now, the big question is, whatever happened to that hand?
Still in Washington Square Park.
Exactly.
That's right.
So this was
Tune
a
into
big
Agents of
moment
S.H.I.E.L.D.
for all of us, all the comic book fans who work on the movie, to send Peter Parker to space, have him crawling up the side of a spaceship. Another big moment, obviously, is giving him the Iron Spider outfit, which you see here. So clearly something Tony had tucked away for a rainy day.
Pete, you gotta let go. I'm gonna catch you. You said save the wizard.
Again, we're trying to design 4, 5, 6 different small stories based around the stones that can be woven together. These various groups coming together, breaking apart.
But also,
this is the perhaps first one.
Everything happening for a reason. Peter just doesn't get a suit because we want him to look cool and sell more toys in this one. He needs a different suit.
He needs to go to space in
purpose.
something different,
Right.
something that he can breathe in, something that let him function in the environment he's about to encounter. The idea behind the movie, too, and we talked about this earlier, is this smash and grab concept. Nobody gets to rest in this film.
Mm-hmm.
They literally get, Strange, Tony, Banner, and Wong get about 2 minutes of exposition out before the story comes to them. And now they're in motion. An inciting incident has happened, and characters are in motion. And you'll watch each sequence as we introduce characters. Each one has its own inciting incident that sets them off on the path towards Thanos.
I'm not even sure exactly what the amount of elapsed time in this movie is. It can't be more than maybe 2 days.
Yeah, at most. Right. As you mentioned, Peter won't give up.
Right.
And now inserts himself in the story in a way that's going to have a very tragic ending for him. He should have stayed on the bus. So this is really unique here coming up is the way that we introduce the Q. It's smashing these worlds together in a way that you haven't seen before. Somebody put their chocolate in my peanut butter.
Right.
It's really bizarre to see, and every time I see it, it's very strange to see this Q starting over Banner here.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like...
Yeah, the traditional cut would be to go to
It's almost
Steve.
like Rubber Band Man signifies Steve Rogers because it starts playing when you look at it. You're like, that doesn't seem right. Who would it signify?
Oh. And it's a tease to anybody who's paying attention. They're going to pick it up before we even cut to space.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that is a joke.
Here's our rock star
on our part. That space title, making fun of our penchant for title cards. We knew we needed a big intro for the Guardians. We wanted something that was very different tonally from everyone else in the film. And I think, we bandied about this idea that they were singing along to a song from Cool Zune. And it's been a couple of years between Guardians 2 and this movie. So they're a very polished, quote-unquote, superhero group who's been traveling the galaxy on many adventures. And obviously... have all picked up a little bit of Groot by this point.
Right.
And know a lot of the songs on Quill Zune.
We are arriving.
All right, Guardians, don't...
And having them in the same film was just, like seeing the contrast between the Guardians and the Avengers is like really delightful. I mean, they're sort of like the gang that couldn't shoot straight, sort of in contrast to the dream team.
Hey.
But yet equally heroic in their own way.
And actually closer to the tragic center of the story.
Yeah.
Right. That was one of the things we really wanted to... It was an advantage, right? Thanos has a couple of daughters.
Who remembers?
Yeah. So if we could tie them to one of the stones, it'd be all the better.
That plot always works best when the characters are emotionally connected to the plot in some way. Obviously, in a movie with 23 heroes, you can't, and that might not even be an accurate count. I don't know. I don't think we've ever said
it's 20. Yeah, I mean,
somewhere in that ballpark.
Depends on your definition of hero.
That's right.
But not all of them can be emotionally tied to the plot. But we knew certainly that Gamora could, and she becomes the core character of the film emotionally, one of the core characters of the film emotionally.
This and the following scene are like two of my favorite scenes in the film. they were
shot very early on.
They're
shot early on, and even when we were on set, you could tell how special they were. The performances were just really alive and very sort of unpredictable and kinetic and surprising.
And an opportunity to keep Thor and Chris Hemsworth in the more comedic zone he'd gotten into from Ragnarok, so that he didn't go back to being the grave Thor, but got to maintain a little bit of that whimsy despite his tragedy.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost like a third version of him now.
Should we talk about the chemistry between Hemsworth and Pratt in the scenes?
ridiculous.
Yeah, these guys love the point of view and the energy. We're pretty fearless comedically, and it's great when you take two very funny actors and you put them in a room together because they push each other.
Right.
There is a natural competition when the lead from two different franchises get together, and it plays right into the competition of the two heroes getting together. So it is delightful.
It is, and it's fun because the deck is so stacked in this scene. Is like Thor is privy to so much more information about our story than Quill is at this moment, that he can basically trump him over and over again.
That's right. It's a very compelling element of crossovers is who has primacy. These are all leaders. Right? They all are used to leading their own worlds and universes. And once you put them in the same room together, who gets to call the shots? Right. And that is a notion that we revisit several times in the movie as different configurations of characters run into each other.
And I had to kill my father. That was hard. Probably even harder than having to kill a sister. Plus, I came out with both my eyes.
There's a spoon that was clearly caught in the washing machine.
I mean, there's a 15-minute version of this scene if you want it. I mean, this is an embarrassment of riches.
Right.
It might be elsewhere on your DVD.
Although this is another example of a scene where, Jeff Ford cut the scene, our editor, very early on, and it didn't evolve too much from the very early cut, surprisingly.
We could talk about the Guardians' roles in the movie for a minute. Will is a very interesting character to us. He's sort of like a Peter Pan character. His mother was dying of cancer. He was kidnapped at the age of 10, raised by pirates. He's unique, and what's fun about him is he's very flawed and he's emotionally damaged. His mother's been murdered.
He murdered his own father.
Yeah, that's right. His girlfriend's about to die in the movie. So this is a guy he has incredible catharsis in his life. Gamora is the bravest character in the film, without question. Two separate moments in the movie is willing to die in order to protect the universe, and doesn't hesitate in either circumstance. Drax obviously provides a lot of comic relief. He does have an emotional connection to Thanos, which he tries to act upon. It doesn't go well for him. Rocket, I think, is a really interesting character. Reminds us a lot of Louis De Palma from our favorite show growing up, Taxi.
Yeah.
As this sort of
puts up a big front, but really
cynical,
there's some
cynical a-hole,
relentless,
who ultimately, if you were to dig very, very, very deep, there's a teeny little heart beating in there. And Groot, who we wanted on a very simple arc. We thought it was very funny. James did with him at the end of Guardians 2. And so we left him in the space of being a belligerent teenager who makes one important choice in the movie.
That's a good example of
the plot.
Proper sized arcs for various characters.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mantis is just funny every time
and yet gets a couple of big moments.
Yeah. But that said, we also wanted to split the Guardians up because much like the strange alchemy of putting different Avengers with different people, we couldn't have them just functioning as a unit throughout the movie.
Yeah.
So this is the first division, where Rocket and Groot go off with Thor. Then later Gamora will leave the other three.
Says the captain. Oh, wait a second. It's me. Yeah, I'll go.
Wonderful. Except for that I'm the captain. Quiet. That's my backpack.
Go sit down.
Look, this is my ship, and I'm not going to... Wait, what kind of weapon are we talking about here?
The Thanos killing kind.
Don't you think that we should all have a weapon like that?
No. You simply lack the strength to wield them.
I thought the Rocket Thor pairing would be interesting because Rocket is so hardened and cynical, and Thor is in this very vulnerable emotional state. I think we'd all agree that collectively one of our favorite scenes in the movie is Rocket and Thor in the pod having a heart-to-heart conversation with each other.
With the pirate angle, and the morons will go to nowhere to try to stop Thanos. Cool? Cool.
So cool.
For the record, I know that.
And this is a perfect example of heroes with opposing agendas.
Shouldn't talk that way to your captain, Will.
And keeping it in motion. I mean, Thor is only with them for a very short period of time before he's blasting off in another direction, so that the movie is always pressing forward.
And you remember, you as an audience member have watched many, many, many movies and television shows over the course of your life. And so when Thor says, I'm going to go get the thing that's going to defeat the bad guy, you are predicting, whether you know it or not, 90 minutes ahead, when he's going to get that thing. He's going to defeat that bad guy.
His commercial movies end up.
Yes, we absolutely take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
We did. I mean, it's very similar to what we did in Civil War. Collectively, we all like to deconstruct narrative, I think, and part of how we deconstruct the mythology of these movies is by playing into predictive elements and then turning them on their head. So when we show you 2 minutes of a backstory of super soldiers, evil super soldiers in Civil War, the intent is that you will think
this must be important.
Yeah, we've spent that story space for a reason, and now there's going to be a big fight in the third act, and this is. Tony and Cap are going to solve their differences and have to overcome a bigger problem. That was, in fact, not the case. Same in this film. We are setting Thor up in a way, as I said earlier, correlating hero's journey with Thanos. One of those two is going to win the movie. Typically, commercial movies do not end this way. So the expectation is that Thor will solve the problem.
So remember our fondness for misdirection as you ask us questions about Avengers 4 over the course of the next year.
This isn't live, Anth. I mean, they're not on the phone right now or anything.
We also say this is Edinburgh, and we did go to Edinburgh.
They could be in Hawaii, but no one took me up on that.
Well, I love Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
My favorite
Did
city
you enjoy it, Steve?
I did. It was 5 degrees. I enjoyed it when it was 5 degrees. I also liked that they could deep fry my kebabs.
Yes. They can deep fry anything you want, really.
Yeah. But Donor, this city had a beautiful texture to it. We were looking for some, a private moment for Wanda and Vision to engage in their relationship, a romantic place, but also a place that can go from something sort of romantic to scary and gothic quickly. And that was basically the what we were driving at here. Is their experience.
And again, one of the few intro scenes, right? Yeah. Tony and Pepper had one. Strange and Wong had one. They have one. But again, it's about the stone. I mean, remind you, he's got a stone in his head, and then someone comes for it. It's not...
Wait.
Oh. Ouch.
Again, we're not waiting. The story isn't waiting. Yeah. The story is coming to the characters. They're all on their heels. They're a very important relationship to the movie, Vision and Wanda. One of the most heartbreaking scenes in the film is between the two of them. And we knew that we had to get to that point, we had to cement their relationship. Also, what I love about the scene is that this is, Wanda doing everything she can to protect a broken Vision.
Right.
I would say that we have difficulty with characters that are too powerful because if they can solve the problem on page 1, where are you going? So we have a tendency, all of us, to look for ways to cripple powerful characters, either physically or psychologically. And in this case, Vision gets skewered by a very powerful weapon, and he's damaged throughout the rest of the movie. Systems are failing.
I think Lizzie's performance is really good, and our stunt team as well, in that you feel the desperation in her in terms of how her fighting style, her efforts, trying to get back to Vision and save him.
We talk about there were earlier drafts of the script, I think, with the Black Order in a more stylized draft where we did backstories for each of them.
We did, yeah.
Ultimately, the movie was getting too crowded, too hard to follow. In the books, there's a backstory between Proxima and Corvus, that they're married, only hinted at in the slightest way here by the fact that they are paired up to retrieve a stone, and the way that she responds. Proxima responds when Corvus gets stabbed by Natasha. This was really all of us working hard to figure out a way to give Steve Rogers a great entrance into the film. We knew that we were delaying his entrance.
We had drafts where we really delayed it.
Yeah. And we wanted him to have a powerful entrance back into the movie, and one that also spoke to this edgier version of Cap. When you're on the run for 2 years, no matter who you are, it changes you.
Yeah.
And he's certainly more hardened.
Living in the shadows.
Yeah. He's always been a man of few words. He has very few words.
Right. These are obviously the Black Order are very powerful. They've got Vision on his heels. They're giving Wanda a run for her money. But what we wanted to illustrate here is that this core group of Avengers, quote unquote, secret Avengers in Falcon, Widow, and Cap are hardened, tough, and work very well as a unit, and surprise the Black Order here, get the upper hand.
Yeah, this is every theater I go to. This is rousing.
How many theaters do you go?
Constantly going to theaters, man.
We should mention Alan Silvestri's theme here.
Oh yeah,
that we use. It's very Pavlovian for many of us in terms of the emotional reaction.
Yeah. I think it's without question the most emotional piece of music
cue in the MCU.
Cue that exists in the MCU, and used sparingly in this movie for two very big moments, one here and one with Thor. It's hinted at in other places, but doesn't get into its full blown presentation.
And was that Silvestri or you guys?
It was I think Alan recommended this, and it was we were sitting in a room with him, and he just we pulled out an iPhone and started playing it from the original Avengers soundtrack, just over the cut, and everybody in the room went crazy. So we said, all right, that's a great idea. And then we knew we needed a big piece of score for Thor, so we thought early on when we were conceiving the film, it was very important to us as directors to identify 2 or 3 key moments where that theme could come in. As I said, I think it's the best thing that we have for music in the Marvel universe, just for recognizability and connection to the audience.
Now here we get to something that has been hinted at, but never shown, which is Gamora is Thanos' adopted daughter. How does a man like Thanos go about adopting anyone? Does he go to an agency? Does he fill out a form? No, he kills everybody else. Well, half of everybody else on the planet, and then you're his.
And we always had this scene from the very first drafts. It changed slightly, but it was always he destroys her world and he takes her as an orphan.
But it was also very important not for him to just grab her, stick her under his arm, and drag her off.
Something he sees in her.
Right.
Something he sees in her, and there is something she sees in him.
Right.
He is a protector. Even if he created the danger, he is providing a way forward for her that does speak to her inherent nature.
It's an abusive relationship in that way.
Visually, it's a tragic. It implies what is about to happen to her. He steps her outside of his rule of law, which is, one side randomly survives and the other side randomly gets killed. He's in between the two.
Right. Scenes do more than one thing, right? Here's how he used to work. This is reminding you. This is his philosophy, balance. This is how he got her. This is the planning of a MacGuffin that's going to be helpful later.
It's unfortunately a trajectory she can't escape, because it does ultimately end up in her demise.
I love the tension in her performance there.
Yes, this young actress was really fantastic to work with.
And here she is.
Zoe, approached this role with a lot of bravery, an intimate collaboration with all these actors is necessary to pull off these sort of very wonderful characters and wonderful arcs, but Zoe had, perhaps the most difficult one in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And she was, we spent a lot of time working with her on that, talking through the character arc with her. She approached it very, with a lot of integrity and a lot of bravery, I thought. And I was really, really respect her performance in this film.
And she carries the movie emotionally.
What?
I know something he doesn't. He finds it.
Characters at several points in the movie, characters and relationships are put into situations where one is asked to kill the other.
It's by design, yeah. The
to
script
protect
does
the
that
universe.
3 or 4 times.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you going to make choices? What does it mean to be a hero? So a lot of people have a very similar choice. Will I lose my loved one or not?
Because it's almost, we're used to heroes sacrificing themselves. It's almost a given. But what's the next step? What are you willing to give up?
I know all these people will jump on the grenade. Mm-hmm. Will they throw somebody else on the grenade?
And it's really fun how Gamora basically generally our heroes in the film refuse to compromise on life, but Gamora very cleverly traps Quill into a promise here.
Right.
Because she knows something that's coming that he doesn't.
And that was, there was a lot of speculation as to where the Soul Stone was, right? And that was, we never wanted to give that chip away. We didn't want it to be somewhere you already knew. We didn't want some other movie to plant it. We wanted to use it as a story point.
We didn't want it to be random either, like it's on Planet X,
exactly,
which happens to have lots of, spiders on it. It'll be difficult.
It becomes a secret for one of our characters, and therefore it becomes emotional. This is perhaps Drax's funniest moment.
Yeah,
Dave Bautista is an extraordinary human being.
And his performance, he is so disciplined and controlled. It's amazing to me. Yeah, it's so funny.
His joke delivery is as sly and subtle as anyone we've ever worked with.
Hi, Drax.
Here we go back to a setting from the first Guardians movie.
Again, this movie rewards investment.
Less good.
We want to do a nice contrast here. If you remember the when they enter nowhere in the Guardians, it's like they're driving into Vegas on a Friday night, and something's amiss now.
Again, this is Thanos' effect on the universe.
There are 2 shots in the movie where Zoe silently absorbs the presence of Thanos. One is over her shoulder when they first arrive at the Ark and they see all the dead bodies floating in space. That's a very subtle shot of her twisting her head, knowing there's very few people in the universe who could enact that kind of destruction. And then again here, feeling it as she's landing, that they may be too late. And for eagle-eyed viewers,
right
Tobias Funke is part of the MCU.
I told you. The collector returns.
Yes, the magnificent.
Yeah, one of the charms of this, right? We didn't even mention it, but Ned Leeds from Homecoming has about 10 seconds in the movie. Benicio del Toro is going to have another 60. It's one of hopefully the delightful things about this all-star mashup is that you'll get these little sprinkles.
But for a reason, there would be an actor in those places.
Right. That's right.
But we have the opportunity to bring in this magnificent supporting cast.
As a callback to Drax's history with Thanos here.
Every scene does more than one thing.
His planet was treated the same way as Gamora's planet, and Drax was put on one side, his family was put on the other.
This scene is, this is the beginning of the relationship between Gamora and Thanos in the film. And you right away you're thrown into like whatever their very complex history with one another is. I love how Zoe reacts to this moment where she believes that she's killed him. Really powerful.
And murdered her abuser.
We should point out that one of the challenges when you have 6 MacGuffins and every stone does a different thing, it's incumbent upon us to remind people what that stone does and to show it visually. So you'll notice that pretty much every time he gets a stone, he uses it in the next scene. This takes a while because it's essentially an illusion that he takes away. And here he uses this whole thing as a test to see if she still cares for him, and that reaction tells him that she does.
I mean, this is one of the most interesting things that Thanos does, and you realize that he has an inner life and an emotional life that's important to him.
Yes, 100%. I mean, this is so manipulative.
Yeah. Well, it's a taste of the relationship he's had with Gamora. It hasn't just been physical manipulation. He has, emotionally.
He's an extreme sociopath with a messianic.
From his point of view, he's trying to salvage his relationship with her. They have had a falling out. He loves her. He's trying to find a way to help her realize that they have a bond between them, that they share love.
People have asked us why Thanos didn't just use the stones to double the resources in the universe. Clearly, he is not.
It's about free will. That doesn't solve the problem. We're just going to get there millions of years from now. Right. This is an opportunity for people to get it right.
Well, he was told
he trusts them,
to an idea that he had that he felt was the only solution, and then was proved right to himself when that solution was not acted upon. So his messianic complex, he is now committed to following through on the idea he had many, many years ago. He's not a stable, although he appears stable at times. He's not a stable individual.
And here a nod to the original Starlin comics, where Thanos does some very strange things with the stones.
Cubes and ribbons. Again, another fantastic performance by Zoe and by Chris here.
Again, I always, it's like in treating Gamora's friends playfully. I think again, it's Thanos stepping very lightly around his relationship with her.
Mm-hmm. Another character has to make a painful choice, right?
Yeah.
You promised.
No, daughter. You expect too much from him.
And it's as if Thanos thinks he knows him.
And on a certain level, it is the girlfriend's dad meeting the boyfriend for the first time.
Twisted. I love that. He rolls his eyes.
It's great. This is where you see the depth of, when these actors get to work with one another over multiple films. It's like the connection these two characters, that Zoe and Chris share here. It's really intense.
The bubble's obviously a function of the reality stone. Thanos has the ability to manipulate.
They're helpful for later. I mean, by reusing them, you sort of know immediately what's happened.
We were asked by a 12-year-old in D.C. at a Q&A why Thanos needed all 6 stones and why didn't he just use the reality stone to alter reality. The idea being that only something so dramatic as disposing of half the life in half the universe could be accomplished with the power of all 6 stones.
Yeah, that's I think the reality stone, we sort of use it as an impermanent solution to things.
Yes.
Right. Not real.
It's illusory. It creates illusions.
And here you see one of the most extraordinary actors in the film. Of course, I'm referring to William Hurt.
Right. No, stop it. This is an amazing piece of
We
work.
have a little. Look at there. Look
at him on his.
just for the right.
There's something coming out of his shoulder.
He's texting like crazy.
That guy is really
look
committed
at
to texting.
Look at that.
Yeah,
he's just
He's
an eyebrow.
inquisitive,
I'll be
curious,
late.
maybe. It's hard to say what's going on.
Thank God we signed into a 10-picture deal.
You don't hear his voice in the movie, but you hear his voice
Towards
now.
Phase 5.
Now, what's interesting about these characters is that they are all heroes, and that irrespective of the events of Civil War and the fact that they caused, physical damage to Rhodey,
You could use some of that.
when aliens show up with the intent to destroy the Earth, he does not hesitate as a hero to invite in other heroes who can help him defend the planet. And I think it would be a much different situation if Tony were here. If Tony and Steve had to see each other for the first time, it would be much more complicated.
Right. Which is why we didn't do it. I mean, we tried in a few drafts, and it ground things to a halt.
Yeah. Rhodey is once removed from that conflict. He is also an extremely heroic character, a military man, and understands that his sacrifice needs to be put aside for the greater good of the universe.
He's a pragmatist.
And I might add, Vision
is the one
shot his suit, which
right.
broke his back.
But off camera, since Civil War, he and Vision obviously had been working together until Vision went off the grid and disappeared. So they must have made amends.
Well, the hotels weren't exactly 5-star. I think you look great.
And here we have just a taste of a reunion.
Hi, Bruce.
The movie's moving too fast for love.
Yeah. Should also say to the designers and builders of this set, it's the biggest and most extraordinary set I've ever seen.
Yeah, Charlie Woods did an amazing.
This must be 3,000 square feet.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
production design on this movie.
I would live in this.
Yeah, I would pay good rent to live in Avengers compound.
It's obviously shot very differently than Civil War and Winter Soldier. The colors are very different. Those two movies were intentionally desaturated, brutalist. We're trying to take the comic book out of Captain America, so we're intentionally pulling it as close as we could to the real world, and to make it less colorful than more colorful. We're integrating a lot of different franchises here. We're dealing with very cosmic, fantastical locations. We knew that we were going to embrace color very early on in Infinity War, and the cameras are what we call studio mode. They're on dollies, Steadicam, cranes. It's more of a presentational image, more steady image. We do handheld at various points in the movie, but it's instinctual moments for us. It's not a mandate like it was in Civil War and in Winter Soldier.
Thanos threatens half the universe. One life cannot stand in the way of defeating him.
Would you say this color, though, and say the Earthbound scenes is closer to Civil War versus the space scenes, or do you see a particular difference between a similar scene in Civil War and
the thing that's close is the fact that these are the same outfits. That, Steve Rogers, we redesigned his outfit to desaturate it. He's ripped most of the labels off of it. This Vision is the same outfit that he was in Civil War. So yes, Earthbound you could say, but still, even in New York or at the Sanctum, there's still an element of color, and the set was designed for more warmth than we traditionally.
Yeah, we combine more color temperatures in this scene, I think, than we would have in those other films, even on Earth. And
there's a modern edge to both of those movies that, again, also is about smashing Captain America into the modern world in a way that creates conflict. And
here we
talked right through the one of the biggest reveals.
Where are we?
Yeah. We tested this movie a few times. And when we got to this scene, most of the audiences, say in January and early February, went, oh, well, this is an interesting place. I've never been here before. And after mid-February, once Black Panther come out, this scene gets a huge cheer. It just rewards you investing in these characters. I shouldn't have been surprised, but boy, I was really pleased.
Here you see several more threads coming together.
Bucky Barnes' long road that you guys began so many years ago.
Bucky.
Now,
years.
It was a big conversation early on as we're going to set a lot of the third act in Wakanda, because if you're going to go anywhere in the world to protect a MacGuffin from an evil alien, it's going to be Wakanda.
Right. And that's not an easy decision. I mean, we certainly talked about it a lot. I mean, Marvel knew that they were 2 months. It would be 2 months from having the third act in Wakanda. Is that the smartest thing? But if you're going to take a stone out, you need the best scientists, and if you're going to protect yourself, you need the most secure country in the world. And what else?
You make your last stand.
So it ended up we looked pretty smart because people loved that movie, and it was delightful to go back. But it wasn't a slam dunk that would be the case.
I think it was also a payoff of the relationship that began between T'Challa and Cap in Civil War. There's a really interesting arc journey those two characters have traveled together, and the development of a mutual respect and a bond kind of blossoms into this moment where Cap can actually go to him and make an ask like this.
This is a Marathon Man.
Yes. Is it safe?
And again,
it's sort of
kudos to our VFX team for Ma's face is magnificent.
Yeah,
the movement, his expression.
Something that took a lot of work in the script phase, how to reintroduce Peter Parker back into the story on the ship and at what moment.
You should not be here.
I was gonna go home. I don't want to hear it. It was such a long way down.
May have shot this scene twice, try and get it correct.
There are all sorts of versions.
We tried to give every character, every main character, say a bit of a topic sentence, right? Why am I in this movie? Why am I, going to the great lengths I'm going to? And so Peter Parker's is because how can you be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood? Right? Tony will, in a couple minutes, tell Doctor Strange that Thanos has been rolling around in his head and I got to do something about it. He's been the cause of all my anxiety. Steve just said it to Colonel Ross, to Director Ross.
Secretary of State.
Secretary, forgive me. Yeah.
Strange says it to Tony that his job is to protect the time.
That's right. So everyone gets if you're doing your 3-paragraph paper at home, everyone gets a topic sentence at one point.
Including the cloak.
That's right.
A lot of discussion
Very
about
loyal piece of outerwear.
Yeah, how to dispatch of Ma here.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most talked about things in the movie. Eventually, we decided that, like Indy with the...
he's facing the saber swordsman.
Yeah. He puts the whip down and pulls out his gun. That something quick and efficient would be more surprising than something belabored, because there's an incredible amount of action in the movie. Felt like we did not need another 5-minute action sequence.
We also just saw a fight between these exact characters in New York.
This is a good example of how we work. Like all of us will decide on our story points and what we want to happen, and then we will go into a cycle where we work with our VFX team and our stunt team on various ideas about how that fight can happen. And we'll explore 6, 7, 8 different possibilities before arriving at what is the right thing, what's servicing the story best, what's servicing the characters best. Yeah. But I think this was an example where we explored many possibilities of that fight.
Yeah.
I turn the ship around.
Yeah. Now he wants to run. Great.
I want to protect the stone.
And I want you to thank me now. Go ahead. I'm listening.
For what? Nearly blasted.
And I think we were all delighted that we could call back to a really old movie.
That's right. Admit it. You ducked out when I told you to. I tried to bench you. You refused.
One of my favorite scenes of the movie as well is this showdown between these two great actors.
Yeah. You've been waiting for this sort of...
Yeah. No. If you remember in Avengers, Tony goes to space for a very brief moment and sees what is in effect the looming threat of Thanos. And now he is in space again. It's time to face that thing he saw back then.
And these characters all have very cathartic histories that are they're clashing with each other. Strange obviously lost the Ancient One and learned a very powerful lesson about protecting the Time Stone and what his mission is as Master of the Mystic Arts. Tony saw a vision of all of his friends dead. These are powerful motivators that drive these characters on their missions, and their missions are conflicting with each other.
Right. Again, this movie, if you've invested, can be very rich because of that, because you bring all that into the movie with you.
Well, that's what makes the movie unique, right? Is that historically, I don't know that you can point to another movie ever being made like this, where there are 18 subsequent stories having been told that were all from different successful franchises. So it creates a very unique movie-going experience. we couldn't tell this story without all of those stories being told. There's no way that you can introduce all of these characters.
It's built on 17, 18 other movies. Yeah.
And if you just wrote this script and said there's a wizard and a man with a metal suit and they fight a purple guy, people would laugh you out of town.
Yeah, it's a testament to Kevin and to to Marvel that the audience has become accustomed to this type of storytelling, or a segment of it is, so that they're on board for a movie that starts right in the middle and assumes that you know a decent amount.
I have to tell you, though, I've been hearing from grandmothers who've never seen any of the movies before.
Tell the New Yorker.
Yeah. What's that?
Tell the New Yorker.
I didn't see that, but I'm telling you, I feel like first-time viewers are responding strongly, and not just people who are outside what you think of as the target audience.
These are some of the richest emotional scenes in the movie.
We've always targeted this as the midpoint, roughly.
These two characters have a devastating history together.
And we may have shot this scene twice as well.
And Thanos, as you can tell, the Black Order are also the children of Thanos, is that he goes planet to planet. As he destroys a planet, he can, if moved, collect a child from that planet, train them, and turn them into a part of his cult.
We're actually going to release a elongated version of this scene, hopefully on the DVD you're listening to right now, where Thanos and Gamora go even more deeply into their history together. And it's I think it's really wonderful stuff, very complex sort of malignant family relationship. But it just ended up being too long for the film, and we ended up figuring out a tighter version of the movie that gave us the right balance of emotional complexity and depth, but also kept the story moving.
Hungry, scrounging for scraps. Your planet was on the...
Part of what defines Gamora as a hero is the fact that she rebels and is the only one who's rebelled against Thanos.
She calls them on it right here in this scene. And the audience, I think the audience desperately needs someone to say, "You are nuts. This idea of yours is not... no one else thinks this.
It's not stable. It's not...
Yeah, she's our surrogate.
But it's also the closest you get to Thanos emotionally making his case for, there's a reason I do this. I'm not just a lunatic.
Yeah. Right. His Malthusian philosophy that about population control.
He's nearly vulnerable here. Yeah. It's about the only... I mean, there's obviously end of the second act he gets vulnerable.
Yeah.
And look at that.
And when he gets rejected at the end of the scene, he becomes... He goes hardcore in the other direction.
Yeah, he does. Once he gets it, this better be worth it.
I offered you caring. Yeah. If you don't want that, I have something else for you.
I have seen lots of online stuff about, can we talk about that Thanos is hot?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Of course.
And in doing so, made you the fierce.
Yeah. Bad boys.
Yeah. You can't change him.
He's got a kind of Tony Soprano kind of... bulky magnitude.
That nutsack of a chin.
Stop it.
Is it attractive? Is that what I'm hearing?
I am disappointed. But not because you didn't find it.
This is, again, a story thing. The catalyst for the whole movie was when Thanos figured out where the Soul Stone was, because he captured Nebula on his ship and rooted around her brain and found out that Gamora knew where the Soul Stone was.
It's the reason why he has not...
why he hasn't gone after
the stone at this point, because the minute he does, the forces of the universe are going to line up against him. Right. If he doesn't know where the Soul Stone is, then what is the point?
Exactly. And that's a question we had to answer based on all these other movies. It's a darn good question. So normally you want, your inciting incident, the catalyst for this, to maybe be on screen and maybe be first. But given how we wanted to approach the story, we've buried it to basically the midpoint. So, and again, it keeps you off balance, but it's definitely there. There's a reason, and it's this.
This is certainly,
this is
along with the scene on Gamora's home planet, really illustrates the how psychotic Thanos is.
Yeah, I'm surprised the screaming made it all the way through.
Yes, crushing. We were.
Yeah. Karen again had a very brave performance in this movie as well.
do. He's finally ready, and he's going for the stones. All of them. Never get them all. He will. He can't, Nebula. Because I found the map to the Soul Stone, and I burned it to ash. I burned it.
Gamora is being undone by her robotic sister, who she in part helped create.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time Gamora would beat Nebula in a training session, as a way to punish Nebula, Thanos would replace parts of her, trying to create a better fighter through robotic parts. And so there's a lot of tragedy that surrounds these characters, and this is a tragic irony for Gamora.
Because of the work done, say, in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, their relationship is stronger, so that Gamora is torn here. That she may not give this information up, 6 movies ago, but she would now.
Again, it's easy to jump on the grenade, but who would you throw someone else on the
That's
grenade?
right.
As Thor points out, families can be tough.
That's so true.
I think, she's looking at buying time here and getting Thanos away from Nebula.
Anthony, if Joe was hung up in Iraq and being tortured, what would you do? That's really the question I have.
I would give up Vormir.
Is that because he's sitting here?
You have to live to fight another day.
No, I agree. It's true, strategically.
I think
it's one step forward.
This scene blends the tones of the movie in a way that I don't think any other scene in the film does. It's absurdism married to pathos. Thor's behavior is what lends to the absurdism. He's in a place where he's refusing to recognize how severe his situation is and all of the terrible things that have happened to him. Talking to a very cynical raccoon, or getting cross-examined by a cynical raccoon.
So dead brother, huh?
I mean, we've often said that Marvel's the best sandbox to play in, right? It's not just because these characters have a long history in the comics. It's because other films have developed the characters. So we get to take, these 2 Guardians and this Thor literally from their movies that came out just before this and use them to our advantage. I mean, the other movies are tools for us.
So you're up to this particular motor mission?
Absolutely. Rage and vengeance.
And he crushes this scene.
Yeah, he does.
I mean,
I
it's
think
annoying.
more than any of the actors in these films, the one that can go from comedic to tragic the fastest is Hemsworth.
Toughest there is.
And that's a real gift as an actor.
He's never fought me twice.
I mean, he's grown over these movies, I think.
Yeah.
Tremendously. I think he's
very hard to hold this together, what he's doing.
He's as compelling an actor as anyone in the world right now.
We knew all this on set. I mean, I think everybody went, oh wow, that was an impressive day.
He really encapsulates a lot as an actor, and his choices are very rich and bold and different.
It's too bad he's ugly. He might be a perfect
he could have
movie
a future if he wasn't such a hideous wreck.
Yeah.
By the way, we're talking about Rocket. I'm sorry, we're talking about Hemsworth?
I mean,
we're
the sheen on his fur.
What more could I lose?
Comedy is at its best when you emotionally commit to it, not when you play the joke, but when you play against the joke. And that whole scene is a masterclass in comedy from Hemsworth, because he's crying while also playing, putting on this ridiculous bravado, and refusing to admit that he's already had his ass handed to him by Thanos.
Later that night, stole his eye.
Thank you, sweet rabbit.
One of the only times Groot becomes interested in anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Thor gets pink eye.
I think a lot of people assume that Rocket had put it up his ass to get it out.
What do you think?
It was up his ear, remember?
Oh, it was up his ear.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's definitely an ass eye.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Here we have Thor's destination.
So this is part of what makes Infinity War the grand, exotic, cosmic locations, the scale of the movie. This is on a massive scale. It's a star that's a forge that is manned by, giant
the dwarves.
Ancient dwarves, an ancient race of weapons makers.
We struggled a lot as to where this axe was going to be, if you remember. We had
many locations.
And again, I've been saying it, and it's like I forget every movie, but every scene needs to do more than one thing. And so we had scenes where it was trapped by basically a dragon. I mean, all sorts of things. But this scene, not only does it provide a test for Thor, but it also shows what Thanos has wrought, right? And that's the second element, that it gets you a little myth about the forging of the gauntlet and that he's a ruthless SOB. And I don't know why it took us so long to figure out that he needed to do that.
No, but it was a huge breakthrough.
It was.
It finally came.
There's so many things on our plate, it's usually, a lot of times it's trying to make one scene work before you can move on to the next scene and understand how that needs to work in the story.
So?
Well, it was also difficult because Thor is basically going off on his own in the movie, which, of course, Rocket and Groot are with him, but there aren't a lot of people who are on their own specific mission.
He's on a non-stone mission. He's on a Thanos mission.
And yet it goes back and connects to the central spine.
Exactly. It was essential that Thanos had something to do with this.
Okay. And we have the magnificent Peter Dinklage.
That's right. If we didn't infuse Thor with this tragedy, this sadness about his existence and everything that's happened to him, again, you might not believe ultimately that he could solve the film. So we really, really had to make it tragic. And it's part of the reason that Loki's death was so important at the beginning of the movie is that, watching his brother finally make the choice to be a hero instead of a villain and then tragically suffering for it. Sends him on this journey to do whatever it takes to solve the problem of the film.
Petrie, this isn't about your hands. Every weapon you've ever designed, every axe, hammer, sword, it's all inside your head. Now I know it feels like all hope is...
One thing we can talk about here is we have a lot of different environments in the film, different worlds, different locations. The story evolves, in different ways through these locations. And these are very big, complex movies to make, and they involve a lot of people. So, everything from what we're shooting on set to what's being designed by the visual effects department, et cetera. So the way that we keep everybody on the same page on these movies visually is we had Charlie Wood in his art department develop very specific drawings of every environment that were artist representations of what it would feel like, what the colors would be, what the textures would be, what the atmosphere would be like. And we had our cinematographer, Trent Oplock, work very closely in developing that in terms of what the lighting would look like, ideally, in these locations. And Dan DeLue and our visual effects team would work very closely as well and give their creative input and bring up their concerns about what the look could be and how it would work in the film. So that we developed this artwork by the end of going through that process in pre-production, where we had visual representations of every environment and every set. And we would bring those with us to set when we were executing, because sometimes that work was done many, many months before, or even a year before we actually shot some of this stuff. And we would have it on set. We would use it as our guide as we moved through the post-production process, and visual effects would start to take over. Again, we would use those drawings as our guide to what we are all trying to achieve. And we continue to reference those drawings all the way through color timing, which is like the final visual tweaking that you do to the film. So it was really helpful, I think, for us to sort of achieve the looks that we have in the film, and a really good process to keep things consistent through a very elaborate process.
That was close.
Oh, you won.
Let me just say, if aliens wind up implanting...
And here we're coming on Strange Alchemy on a grander scale, which is
I'm trying to say that
first group fight/meeting between Guardians and Avengers.
And this is an example of a lot of work with stunts teams, visual effects teams, figuring out, once the story is firmly fixed and the script, like what does all this mean on a physical choreography level?
Mm-hmm. People have such different powers, different, sets of movements that they can make. To bring them all together in a satisfying way is really a task.
Everybody stay where you are. Chill the F out. I'm going to ask you this one time.
Showdown.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. Who's Gamora? I'll do you one better.
This is where the, again, absurdism smashes into logic, where you have very intelligent and rational Strange and Stark trying to deal with the insane Guardians.
But everyone's on their arc, right? I mean, Quill is behaving this way because Gamora's been taken from him. You'll notice a small thing. The one who claims they're Avengers is the kid who just got knighted as an Avenger. Then we got to combine, just on a plot level, the fact that Thor is alive and on another mission. So that leads to the button of this scene.
You're not with Thanos? With Thanos? No. I'm here to kill Thanos.
Remind people that Quill is from Earth, and here he is meeting Earthlings, and that's probably a new experience.
You're the ones Thor told us about.
Yeah.
You know Thor?
Yeah. Tall guy, not that good looking, needed saving.
Where is he now?
And back to Thor.
This was one of the more complex sequences in the movie to edit, was where the scenes with Thor went as he was building the axe to maximize his entrance into the Wakanda battle.
Have a name?
Stormbreaker.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
We've been fortunate in the movies that we've all done together is that we've always gone into production with a very tight script.
Yeah.
And so that the movie ends up being, pretty reflective. I think, perhaps more than is normal in films.
Right.
The movie ends up being very reflective of the script. I just blanked on where I was going.
Well, but part of that is, and in this case, the scenes changed, placement of scenes changed a lot. The editing of the third act, particularly, it was sort of conceived to be cut between Titan and Wakanda, with Thor's journey being done relatively early. We, perpetuated it so that it happened late. One of the reasons we've previously had scripts that were in really good shape is because we had 3 years between Captain America movies. We had 2 years between 1 and 2. We had 2 years between Winter Soldier and Civil War. And then between Civil War and this one, we had 2 years for 2 movies.
Exactly.
Which is not to say that the scripts were in bad shape
No.
when we went in. They were just weren't as beaten up
as tight as the other ones. But in fact, but now I remember what I was going to mention was, I think one of the things that we all learned the most in the post-production process as we would screen the movie for test audiences was how to structure the movie and throw from storyline to storyline. That, I would say, if anything, the intercutting between the various storylines is what evolved the most in the editing process, which is unusual for us in our past work.
Figuring out how long you can be away from a character. Like, we go away from Tony, from New York to cutting back to the ship. He's away for probably the longest amount of time Iron Man's ever been away from
from a movie Iron Man's in.
Yeah.
Right. We always knew that would be an issue.
It took a long time to get it right and calibrate it.
By the way, this was the first scene we shot, right?
It was.
Oh my gosh.
The first 3 days of shooting, I think. Of shooting.
And Benedict can just do that.
Yeah.
He can float and move his head like that. He's an extraordinary actor.
Hey, what was that?
But this was us for the first time trying to figure out the tonal, composition of and balance between Avengers and Guardians. And it was,
you were just handed those Guardians. This is the first time you've ever dealt with them, and Strange.
Yeah. Of course, Strange is ominous.
Yeah.
Prophecy.
Oh, who knew?
And now a little bit of heaviness for you.
So when you get to Vormir and you get to the rules of Vormir, you're going to need an expert. You're going to need whoever tells you what the rule of Vormir is, you don't want to doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
So that dovetailed nicely with a fetish Chris and I have, bringing Red Skull back into the universe. So
chronologically, he's the first guy, well, and cinematically, he's the first one ever to be obsessed with these Infinity Stones in the MCU. And he clearly did not die at the end of First Avenger. So the idea of where he might have gone is so tantalizing. And, again, much like being able to fill roles that would be there anyway with William Hurt or Benicio del Toro, we had a character who fit this moment perfectly.
It extracts a terrible price.
I am prepared.
This is what always surprises me most about you guys is like your fluency and facility with the scope of what the MCU is, because you're responsible for so much of it. It's in part that's why, but
well, it has. It's been
amazing.
Not too many people get the opportunity. I mean, the MCU is a unique experiment, and the fact that we've been there for all the phases is a privilege. But it also means that, yeah, we know where all the bodies are buried, and sometimes you can dig a body up and put them in a scene.
Mm-hmm. Especially when he already looks like a corpse.
But it cast me out.
I don't remember at what point. Do any of you that we conceive that this should be the way that you obtain the Soul Stone?
It was early on.
It was pretty
early.
The
only way we got it. I'm pretty sure. There's no first draft was always you had to make an exchange like this.
Well, it was also, I mean, when we began to lock into this movie being Thanos' journey and Thanos' movie,
holds a special place.
He needs a dark moment. And what is a dark moment for a person who, bathes in darkness all the time? It's losing the one thing he loves. And we couldn't have that be just accidental or purposeless. If we're going to kill off a major character like Gamora, if we're going to kill off Thanos' daughter, there has to be a massive plot reason for it. And it dovetailed nicely with this one missing stone.
The end of Act 2 for us is always the darkest moment, usually on a character level, but it might be on a plot level. So sort of an easy look at it would be, we lost, Gamora. That's bad for the Avengers. That's bad for us as an audience member. That's not why it's the end of Act 2. It's the end of Act 2 because it's bad for Thanos. It's the worst thing that could happen to Thanos. The one person he loved more than anything is the one thing that stands in the way of him getting what he wants. So we always wanted to drive at this as the end of Act 2.
This is all Brolin.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
And I was always so disappointed.
Except for the stubble of his beard. That's our VFX department.
Fair.
Boy, if I was Thanos, I would not want to shave.
Sure.
We should hold a contest
over those
to design a razor that he could use
on that sack of a chin. I'm just going to keep saying
that. My 8-year-old son has said it 1,000,000 times since he's seen the movie.
It's better than the reverse.
Big moment for Zoe, obviously. Yeah. Again, second time she really gets to be the voice of the audience and telling this guy he's wrong.
One of the saddest moments in the movie for me is her reaction.
When Skull. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's what I love is, again, this character is so amazing because she's such a fighter. And even in this moment where she's facing this situation, she's like...
Well, their first decision is to kill herself to save the universe.
Yeah.
But then she doesn't hesitate. It's this moment right here.
Right.
But then she goes right to trying to invalidate.
That's amazing acting, the way she's processing this. She's telling us a lot in one look.
This isn't love.
This is why she gave up Vormir to save Nebula. She's still looking for a way out.
Right.
She never stops.
Even for you.
And Alan Silvestri's score here is really spectacular. It's tragic and oddly majestic.
Well, it's the most operatic the movie gets, right?
Bubble.
Yeah, and that helps, right? You saw Bubbles, you know, oh, he did that thing.
He has control of reality.
Yeah.
He's such a son of a
And that's when she knows she's lost.
There's an inevitability to the movie, not dissimilar to another Josh Brolin film, No Country for Old Men, where, the second time you see the movie, it becomes quite obvious that Thanos is going to win the film. At earlier points in the movie, we reference the snap quite a bit in the film. It's like the old Hitchcock adage: "You're going to bring a gun out, you better use it." If we're going to talk about the snap, well, we're going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's almost unstoppable in the film.
He's got the strongest will. I mean, that's one of the things we always thought, is that he's not dangerous because he's got the stones. He's dangerous because he has the will to use them.
He won't quit. It's part of the mysticism of the stone, is that he's transported back down the mountain.
Right. Mm-hmm. This is an image you guys always had. Do you know where it came from?
Todd Harris, one of our storyboard artists.
So yeah,
came up with this idea.
That's cool.
Transition that made it look like he had been transported somewhere else in the cosmos,
He was
and
floating in
find out
space,
he's
yeah.
back down. The Bloodstone.
That's a whole nother Marvel series.
Here we go. This is now ramping into the third act.
Mm-hmm.
We are arriving at Wakanda.
That actually makes sense, because this moved around a lot. But when you call it, sort of the beginning of the third act, it's better here than it would be 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah. And this amazing city is going to come to the defense of the universe. It's going to be the last stronghold.
When you said we were going to open Wakanda to the rest of the world, this is not what I imagined.
What did you imagine?
Led by this man.
Even as Gamma.
Will there ever be an Olympics in Wakanda?
I'm not sure it's really something you want.
I don't think so.
Plus, they're going to win everything.
Right.
So
T'Challa's been on a really interesting journey since Civil War. He is, and assuming the throne, he is faced with conflict after conflict, internal strife and civil war in his own country, and now the fate of the universe hangs in the balance. And the only thing that stands between ultimate doom is Wakanda.
And Bucky's hair.
Look who's got a fancy arm.
A vibranium arm.
How you been?
Life's never been better.
Everything out in the world.
And the smartest individual in the Marvel Universe, Shuri, the only one who could have any chance of removing the stone from Vision's head and saving his life.
To attach each neuron non-sequentially.
Why didn't you just reprogram the synapses to work?
Those are one of the things I love about Marvel.
Because we
is
didn't think of it.
It's a population of
Did your best.
genius scientists.
That's right.
Yeah, there are muscle men and guys in armor, but it is all the bedrock is brilliant scientists.
How long?
As long as
That is a superpower. Again, the movie stops for no one.
Right.
Thanos stops for no one.
The moment you think you might have a taste of the solution, here comes
the ticking clock.
Hey, Cap,
It occurs to me that Falcon says that there are a lot of types of situations in this third act. We got a vision. We got a lot of situations.
It is one unfolding situation.
We got an Anthony Mackie situation.
That's right.
Of course, a country as advanced as Wakanda would have a protective shield.
Right.
Which forces...
well, that becomes T'Challa's decision. Everyone has a big choice to... it's not his isn't necessarily a suicidal one, but it's an incredibly dangerous one. Am I going to open up the shield?
Lose a chess game.
And lose a lot of these people, in order to buy 10 more minutes for my sister.
Destroy that stone.
back on the table.
Yeah.
Hold them off. Wanda, as soon as that stone's out of his head.
And here comes the big line. You've noticed Captain America might be missing something in this movie.
Get this man a shield.
It's the end of Civil War.
It's not only given one, but two.
Get this man a shave.
That's right.
Now we're starting to ramp into, the towards the climax. We're beginning to cross-cut more. The music's carrying across the cuts. We're tying together the sequences now. Stories are starting to blend as you're moving into the third act.
And you as an audience member, you think, oh, right, I see where this is going. He's going to get the thing that he says he needs. Solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I see the pieces falling into place.
The scenes are becoming complementary now.
The editing is quicker, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we're I don't know.
We're starting to
probably could do a
pace up.
diagram that,
Yes.
the scenes are longer earlier on.
The time for talking is past us. Now it's the time for action.
Mm-hmm.
And Thor, one of the things I loved about him as a kid was the fact that he was a god and that his abilities were godlike. And this is like the trials of Hercules.
Right.
He has to do something insanely difficult that requires an insane display of power that very few people in the universe could pull off.
Well done.
That's one of the more charming moments for his character, is that sort of childlike glee that he has.
That's the thing.
Start.
This is Nibbler.
Again, for a character who's lost everything.
Yeah.
And this
Any win.
This is a
That's right.
movement back into his youth, his guardian heritage.
Yeah, it's not all darkness. Except when it doesn't work.
Damn it.
Faulty flanges.
The mechanism is crippled.
What?
With the iris closed, I can't heat the metal.
Want to talk about Dinklage and and how you shot him perspective-wise and everything? Is there anything to
Yeah, I mean,
mind
it
there?
was certainly, it's very complicated to change scale on characters when you, it has to do with how you orientate the camera, the lenses, when you have other characters in frame, when you're working with a giant character. So it was a very laborious process of matching lenses, moving, Peter in for his shots, bringing him out, then moving Hemsworth in for his shots, and then changing the scale of each of them. And it required the most math and science of anything we did in the film.
There's a lot of trial and error involved in the sense of, figuring out what techniques make it look best and feel best. And, so it's sometimes these actors are required to do a lot of very technical things and perform over and over again many times because of the technical processes required to achieve the look.
They're very patient.
Yeah. Not as easy as it looks for them.
So all of Wakanda is uniting.
Right.
Mm.
Again, that people come in when they're needed. So
We also said we did not know, because we hadn't seen Black Panther, because they were still making Black Panther, about their war chants.
Oh my God.
And when the actors came from across Atlanta from the set of Black Panther over to ours to do this, they just started doing it. And it was
blood-curdlingly cool.
It
Yeah.
was super. Yeah, it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
very inspiring. And that led to, so after watching M'Baku do it
Winston
at the opening, with Winston doing it at the opening of the sequence, it led to the responding war cry that T'Challa leads coming up here.
Nothing but dust and blood.
That is the
really
voice and face of Carrie Coons there.
Yeah, and I think Winston was just trying to get you were just trying to heat all the actors up, and so the way they were doing that was with the war chant.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Don't do that off camera.
Save it.
They surrender? Exactly.
And here come
These are the Outriders.
the Hounds.
You never told the Space Dog story before.
What's the Space Dog story?
Well, there was a focus group after one of the test screenings. Somebody was commenting on something that happened in this section of the film, and he said, "You know those space dogs?" He referred to them as space dogs.
So he thought it was hilarious, so he incorporated it into Bradley Cooper's Reed.
Now Rocket refers to them as space dogs when he's shooting at them. He's like, "Come on, space dogs!"
That's right.
Killing themselves.
So as part of the chess match here, they're going to surround the city with creatures who are willing to die in order to breach the shield.
And Cap just said, we don't trade lives, but now he's up against someone who does.
Right. They have blood to spare.
Yeah, which is awesome.
And T'Challa is forced to make a decision here about how they're going to handle it. Because if the Outriders do encircle the city, there's no way that the Wakandans can stop them from breaching the tower that Vision is in. Again, this is all a race to destroy the stone before they can get their hands on it.
All right, back up, Sam. You're gonna get your wings in.
War Machine being War Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Unleashing an arsenal in this movie.
The thing, like, action scenes should define character, right? So we had a couple of beats of some bombs there and some Falcon stuff, but now we're being told that we're about to get surrounded. So we have a character choice to make. Are we going to wait, or are we going to invite the fight to us?
Which might more easily lead to our death than
Yes.
otherwise.
And T'Challa being the leader that he is.
Right. He makes the call.
Makes the call here. Makes the courageous choice. He knows it's going to be a great sacrifice to do this.
And we, like, listen, a year ahead of time, we had no idea Wakanda Forever was going to be amazing. Right.
It's part of his chess match. He just made a move here.
Picking angles that clearly demonstrate what has just happened.
Here comes Captain
And
front
this
of the
just,
line with
I just love
Panther.
this.
Well, as comic book fans, those are the moments that
Yeah.
Anthony and I live for when we make these movies.
Oh,
These are some angry space dogs.
But you also want to, it's good to see the kind of brutal fighter Cap has had to become in the last 3 years. He's been,
Father's give me strength. You understand, boy? You're about to take the full force of
yeah,
the storm.
warn at him.
It'll kill you. Only if I die.
Vintage Ragnarok Thor.
Right. Just a little taste of
vintage Dinklage as well.
I go to the gym.
It took us a long time to figure out how to design this Dyson sphere and the forge and how it would work. There's a lot of conceptual art created to figure it out. Kept refining the rules in post as we were developing the VFX. Hopefully it's evident that, this is a forge and
Right.
it needs to be opened in order for it to work. And when the doors close, they then forcibly need to be pried open again.
Right. It's all in this, and again, it's if it gets too technical and it somehow takes away from character, we've screwed up. Yeah. He has to endure in order to make the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost cost him his life.
And in doing so, allows for another character to make basically the only choice he makes in the movie.
Yeah. There's something very satisfying. That from here on out, Thor's axe will have a little bit of Groot in it.
Oh, I do like that. Yeah.
That really represents this cross-pollination.
Mm-hmm.
We all know, if you've seen Thor, that these weapons have a healing power for Asgardians.
That's right. In the first Thor, he
So that's the tension here in this moment is, can he get the axe in time to heal himself? We also have we heard Peter Dinklage state that that this could conceivably control the Bifrost.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In theory.
There aren't too many other franchises where you could chop off a character's arm and make it be a heroic moment, and the other guy gets to use his arm as a handle.
All is right in you.
I wanted to work really hard here to make this intense, so that you really felt these characters run on the run in a way that you hadn't seen before. That the Avengers were backs against.
Yeah. You
their
do
backs
this to
were
Black
against
Panther. I mean, they're
Ragdoll
and Cap here.
Yeah, he's getting.
And
favorite is the
ultimately
Hulkbuster.
Right.
They're just getting overwhelmed.
Right.
They're outnumbered.
Yeah, that's one shot that tells the whole story there.
Yeah. And then perhaps the most rousing moment in the whole movie. And incredible score from Alan Silvestri. Combines for, I think, the biggest cheer moment in the film.
Yeah. Because raccoon, a tree, and a Norse god showed up.
Yeah. Thor is now on mission.
Yeah.
He has what he needs to win the film.
We were listening to a recording made in a movie theater in India during this section of the film. And when Thor shows up, it literally sounds like a rock concert. It's just like, everyone's like,
Now, of course, Thor went to Earth on the assumption that that Thanos would arrive there at some point to retrieve the two stones that he knows are on Earth.
But Thanos had to stop to make first his hometown.
And this is the setting of the Thanos' mind, the great tragedy that inspired his holy mission that he's on.
So all this wreckage is, sort of the second part of a design of a. There's, you'll get a chance to see Perfect Titan in a couple seconds here, and all of this is.
And there were drafts where we spent more time in Perfect Titan, where we saw more of a backstory for Thanos. But in the end, this was all you really needed, and the rest was fairly gratuitous.
Let me guess.
Strange knows he's the bait.
Yeah.
He's hidden the stone, keep it away from Thanos, with the intention that they're going to remove the glove from him. So they never want the stone anywhere near him in case they don't get to the point where they're going to remove the glove.
Titan was like most planets.
Of course, all of that goes haywire.
And when we faced extinction,
Nice place, Titan.
No, yeah.
Doesn't look too crowded.
Tax rates are ridiculous.
I'm telling you, if I didn't kill half the people there, the place was dying.
That's
fine.
It doesn't look awful.
Oh, it's corrupt on the inside.
Yeah, outside the city walls. Bad scene.
I'm a survivor.
Who wants to murder trillions?
With all 6 stones, I could simply snap my fingers.
By design, we hit the snap a few times to make you know what's going on when you get to it. And we're also setting up here final shot of the movie. So you need to hopefully feel that when he does sit on his porch and look out at a sunrise in a grateful universe, he's accomplished exactly what he's set out to do.
That's, I think, one of the most unnerving things about Thanos is that there is a nobility in him, It's not ego, it's not power.
Yeah.
He basically looks at himself as a servant. And when he's finished his service, he rests.
The geometry of what goes into these movies, especially this film, with the amount of characters in it and the scale of the action, is very thought out. Every frame is very thought out, so that you can track the action, that you can follow what's going on in the movie. If the framing were to become too stylized or dense or look at me, it detracts, one, from the storytelling, but also complicates how you receive the story with all of these characters and all of the different small incidents that occur over the next 30 minutes of the movie.
Magic! More magic! Magic with a kick! Magic with a...
insect.
As you can imagine, when you have a gauntlet that has nearly unlimited power, and every time you use it, you can do what you want, we wanted to create small physical rules that would allow people to hang in a fight with him. So the idea that he had to, close his fist to use a stone was the bare minimum that allowed us to have a fight.
Mm-hmm. So that every choice they're making, you'll notice in that last minute of fighting, is to keep him from closing his fist, from Peter webbing it to the cape wrapping around it.
Well.
You should have killed me.
Would have been a waste of parts.
Where's Gamora?
And that's Nebula's most triumphant or heroic moment in any film up to this point.
Everyone gets her moment, and she stays on story because we need to know that no one was around to watch Gamora die.
Now here's the plan being executed.
Mm-hmm. Those are the bands of Sidorak that we decided?
Those are the Crimson Bands of Sidorak. Everybody has a part to play.
That's right.
The best laid plans of mice and men. If only it didn't tragically line up with the revelation that Thanos had murdered Gamora.
Quick! He is very strong.
Parker, help! Get over here. She can't hold much longer. Let's go.
Well, these scripts are supremely well written by Messrs. Markus and McFeely.
Yeah,
occasionally an actor will contribute something, and that
dare you.
That, for the record, this was my plan. It was a nice contribution by Mr. Pratt.
Where is he?
He is in anguish.
Good.
This is some of the most amazing effects work, I think, in the whole film.
Mm-hmm.
It's her interaction with his head and Brolin's performance here really being translated.
So on the day, Brolin is wearing a skull helmet.
Wearing a strange foam headpiece that is the size of Thanos' head.
Mm-hmm.
So he's acting with this peculiar
palm is touching that.
That. We have a camera on his face. And, and he's delivering this performance.
Helmet cam.
And she's on ropes, having been sort of lowered down to approximate. She's not actually sitting on. Yeah.
Hopefully on this DVD, you will also have a scene that shows you the behind, how we shot this. Because it was extraordinary. Imagine Josh Brolin at the center of all this on set.
Wearing pajamas and a Thanos helmet. Ridiculous.
With foam all over his body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, we have to put foam around his arm when they interact with his arm.
Right.
It's Thanos' size and his chest, and so people don't get too close to him. We have to put his proper chest size around his body.
This is really, when you look back on it, the moment all hope is lost. Because Thanos is now angry and back on mission.
This was shown at Comic-Con.
Right.
And apparently brought the house down.
So he uses two stones there. He uses the Power Stone to destroy the moon, and then he uses the Space Stone to pull it so quickly to the surface of Titan. Again, we're ramping up the cross-cutting here. We're starting to bleed the narratives into one another.
Some fine work by Jeff Ford.
Yeah. Our amazing editor, who's done all of our Marvel films.
Right, is a sort of a fifth member of the storytelling team.
Here's the space dog.
By the way, that was an iconic moment from the books where Panther punches, as he's known as Black Dwarf in the books, but Cull Obsidian in the movies.
How much for the gun? Not for sale.
And Rocket cannot resist an artificial body part.
Strange alchemy.
Your haircut?
Facial hair bonding moment.
Right, sure. Just a little.
And they haven't seen each other since the end of Ultron, I think.
I am Steve Rogers.
Jokes in character. Steve's earnestness will lead to something.
He's very legitimately confused there.
Yes, as one would be.
Again, Wanda faced with a choice of
right
love versus duty.
Everything's doing more than one thing. So because of their experience in Edinburgh, they know that Wanda is a force to be reckoned with, so that if she stayed behind to guard the stone, their path is blocked, so we need to get her out onto the field.
And when she comes out and we cut to Proxima, you realize that this was not just the screenwriter's plan. This was the villain's plan, too. They are not just merely throwing everything they have. They know that their goal, Vision, is always guarded by this very powerful character. They need to draw her out.
Yeah. Right. And of course, he's not dead. Yet. It's Florence who made her first appearance.
Right, it's her third movie.
Yeah, made her first appearance in a scene-stealing role in Civil War when
she faces off.
Yeah, she faces off with Black Widow in a parking garage.
Somebody get the Vision!
On my way.
Now, again, Proxima's been marking Wanda.
Right.
It's her job to keep her away from Vision while Orvis extracts the stone.
This gets a big cheer.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Proxima,
she's got friends.
Right.
Yep. And these friends know how to fight.
Just to give you a touch of what these actors are actually going through, this is an incredibly hot, muddy horse field in Atlanta, or outside of Atlanta, where they
mosquitoes and snakes and
sweating and
all manner of unpleasant.
Paul Bettany wears one of the most restrictive and intense costumes of any of the cast. Completely painted up. His head is encased. His body's encased.
And the last place you want to be is 90 degrees, 90% humidity.
Oh, screw you, you big green asshole! I'll do it myself! Come on! See ya!
So let's talk about Banner's arc. This is an arc that makes Banner a hero and not just someone who whines for the Hulk's help all the time. Banner has to step up and solve the problem on his own. This puts him and the Hulk in a very interesting position at the end of the movie. As he states there, they clearly have a lot to discuss.
I thought you were a formidable mission, but you're dying.
Vision gets skewered quite a bit in the movie.
Yeah.
He can take it. And there was a point, there was a draft where that tackle was Cap's first appearance in the movie.
That's true.
They called us insane.
Yeah,
and we may well have.
Yeah, it was not satisfying.
He was very underground.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, but that's, again, speaking, we had no model for this movie, when we all set out to start to make it. And it's, because never has a movie been made with this number of characters that has required this type of narrative structure in order to accommodate those numbers. So there was a trial and error process to figuring out how you fine tune this thing.
That, like Lancelot and John Borman's Excalibur, that Captain America shows up key moment in the battle for the first time to save Vision. And then after we read the draft, we did conclude we were all insane.
And I remember
he still has that appearance. It just happens to be in the Edinburgh train station.
Yes.
We have a unique opportunity here. I mean, it's not, there certainly other movies have done it, but we know we have 2 movies to tell character arcs. And so some characters are going to be better served in the second story. I think it's okay to say that Cap has a big story in the second one.
And now,
the
Raven. Yes.
Again,
Joe and Amp had a peculiar obsession with the Raven.
I did. I loved the Raven growing up, and I wanted to see a scene in this movie where Thanos' full powers went against Doctor Strange's full powers.
And the Raven you refer to is Vincent Price, Boris Karloff.
Yes.
Is it Roger Corman?
It is.
And Jack Nicholson's first appearance.
No.
I believe it's his first appearance. And this is one of the only uses of the Soul Stone in the film.
Right
there.
Until it's final use.
You never once used your greatest weapon.
Now you find out that part of the strategy.
He knows it's a fake, right? And here comes Tony. So the journey that Tony's been on as a genius scientist is that, the evolution of his armor. This is the best that's ever going to get for Tony. And it's nanotech.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the cutting edge of what his mind can deliver. And it still is not enough to beat Thanos. And in fact, barely keeps him in the fight.
After his initial remark, there's not a lot of smart aleck here.
It's also earlier where you realize this interesting parallel between Thanos and Tony. They're both aware of something from an early point and constantly having to deal with being smarter. Thanos is a futurist as much as Tony Stark,
which is why he's aware of Stark, that original battle in New York, as the person who undid the plan. And that line, I don't want to skip it because it's one of the best lines in the movie. All that for a drop of blood really underscores the existential statement that the film makes: is that everything that they throw at Thanos in this movie, which is everything that they have, leads to that one drop of blood until, of course, Thor at the end of the film.
You have my respect, Stark. When I'm done, half of humanity will still be alive.
And a little bit of respect from Thanos.
Also, we should talk about that misdirective,
in terms of
Tony Stark getting impaled here.
Right.
That also is to make you believe that this could potentially be the end of Tony Stark's journey in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In fact.
Well,
it
leads
gets a
to
reaction.
plot twist.
It certainly was going to be had not Doctor Strange announced.
Right. I remember everyone had their topic sentence, so Doctor Strange said, under no circumstances, if it comes down to you or the kid or the time stone, I'm going to let you die. And then he clearly does not.
He reverses.
And in between then, he looked at 14 million futures. We should also give a shout out. It's one of the storyboard guys, but hiding the stone in the stars, I don't know whose it was.
It's Darren, I believe.
It's Darren Denlinger, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if that came out of storyboards or visual effects, but I don't know. Maybe
okay. I don't want to. Let's just not give credit to anybody.
I love that too. I've been delighted by that for a long time now.
One to go.
I love that little look he gives Strange.
One to go.
A lot of fans were upset with Star-Lord's choice in this movie.
Oh, you mean when he reacts
yes,
upon learning that Gamora?
Remember, he was.
I think we're just putting characters in positions that act like humans.
He's had a tough life.
It's utterly understandable.
Yeah. It's emotionally.
He made an emotional decision.
But he was prepared to kill her earlier.
Yep.
Thanos prevented him from doing that. And then Thanos killed her. It's a terrible knot to be tied in.
It's also a very human mistake. And I think what's interesting about narrative is you can learn to view things from the point of view of different people, different characters. You can learn things about life.
Mm-hmm.
Thor makes an equally complicated decision coming up here.
Well, it's also, Gamora shares a very unique problem. Like you were saying before, Chris, it's like she reveals something very specific to Quill. He has information and understanding about her jeopardy in this movie that nobody else understands. So it becomes his job. He becomes her protector at that point, by being invited in.
It's interesting to put responsibility on him.
Yeah.
Thanos has so much power at this point that it is merely he's swatting the heroes like flies.
Yeah. He is choosing to let it go on a little longer. And this is what Bruce Banner has been warning them about as the herald from space for the whole movie. And now it's here.
2 close-ups on Wanda and Vision, who both realize what they're up against.
Yeah, that's it. When we decided that it was going to be the snap, that meant that, working backwards, that he's going to get all 6 stones, which means at some point he's going to get Vision's stone. And audience members know that. But we want to give people, I think William Goldman probably said, give the audience what they want, but not in the way they expect. So in order to create this crazy Romeo and Juliet type of tragedy, right? The idea that in order to keep the stone from him, she's going to have to kill the man she loves was too rich an opportunity to pursue, even though we needed him to get it. So it gets doubly tragic towards the end here.
There are a lot of plot twists packed into the last few minutes.
It's
includes her trying to murder Vision to save the universe, Thanos then restoring Vision, Thor hitting him in the chest with an axe
on the end of his journey.
Yes. Could have won the movie. Finger snap.
We go into quintuplet overtime.
He gets the stone, half the universe dies.
A lot.
I'll bet he has the opportunity to have not 1, but 2 death scenes.
And there's incredible performance on both Lizzie and Paul's part here.
Yeah, they really sell it.
You could never hurt
me. Again, sacrifice.
I just feel you.
Yeah. And again, that moment where, all these heroes are willing to sacrifice their own lives, but the threshold is crosses. When are you willing to sacrifice somebody else's?
And the story being built through many movies. I mean, that stone that is in his head was in Loki's staff. She then was given her power from that stone and is now consequently the only person who can destroy that stone.
Steve's the only one who gets around to there.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, if it's a movie about strong wills, he's got one.
Which gives him the opportunity to do this. Remember, it's in slow motion, so this is seconds that he's able to.
Thanos taking him in.
Thanos is, amused by this. And also admires Will and others. And then we get to see the full display of Wanda's power here. She was created via a stone. Her powers came from a stone. So it gives her the ability to stall Thanos.
I wonder if
and destroy a stone.
Thanos would have tried to make Kappa child of Thanos.
Oh.
There's a what if
comment. There's a what if comment, yeah.
And
again, more amazing score from Alan Silvestri here. Now, in a traditional commercial ending, this could have been the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think we go past it 2 more times.
Again, in the humanity of Thanos, I always love this moment here where he acknowledges that her sacrifice was like his own.
Yeah.
It's like
I did the same thing a couple hours ago.
Actually, I think that he would have taken Wanda,
Today I lost more.
But then also, again, tying all the movies together.
But now it's no
time. He gets to use the time stone, just like Doctor Strange did.
No. There's no time at all.
again, that's part of the challenge of trying to tell the story. You've got such powerful MacGuffins. How do you keep them off the table reasonably, and then how do you use them in fresh ways and in this
essential
case,
ways,
devastating ways? Yeah,
they're not just showing off, but making so the movie wouldn't have happened had you not done that.
The great stunt here, that body.
Yeah.
Oof.
There's a lot of painful moments stacked together here. Watching Vision die twice.
We did want there to be a physical toll to having all those stones together, all that power coursing through you.
Yeah. Look at how powerful this axe is.
Yeah.
So the man who made the gauntlet and the axe provided Thor with the weapon that could defeat the gauntlet.
It's the Thanos killing kind.
I told you.
Unfortunately, he didn't go for the head.
And that's the thing, is
particularly savage.
Was this
here.
a small misstep on Thor's part?
That's right.
To take this moment of revenge.
That's right.
But very human and understandable.
Had he killed him quicker?
And as monumental as this moment is in cinema, my primary memory is Josh Brolin with a huge chest piece that made him look like one of the Fruit of the Loom guys, with then a huge foam axe stuck in his chest.
Often discussed beat.
Are we committing to it being Soul World?
Of course it is. So Thanos is transported through the power that was needed or required to wipe out half the life in the universe into this dream state inside the Soul Stone.
He is allowed one last meeting with that which he gave up to get there.
The spiritual representation of his daughter.
Did you do it?
It's a fever dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it a fever dream? Is it part of storytelling? Is it plot? Does she exist inside that stone? Does this exist in his mind?
It's the freedom you have when you've made 18 movies prior to this.
It's just so valuable for him as a character, though. Like, he's in the next couple minutes, he goes through some sort of palpable regret. And then by the time he gets to the porch, I think he's...
Because when your villain wins, I don't want evil cackling. I want to know the cost.
See there with his gauntlet in the arm, the power that it takes to use all 6 stones is significant and clearly damaged the gauntlet and damaged Thanos permanently.
And I love the growing disbelief here from Evans.
We always knew we wanted to play past the snap because the snap is just ending the movie on a plot trick. This is ending the movie on emotion. It's a horror film having to watch each of these
if we
characters.
had ended on the snap, I would argue that it's a cliffhanger. But I would say it's not a cliffhanger.
No, it's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy because the villain wins.
It has an ending. It's just not an ending that people are used to.
Exactly.
Thanos set out to save the universe, and the movie's over when he does.
Captain America has never outright lost. He has laid down everything he can and eked out a victory.
It wasn't good enough,
he cannot do it here.
This moment I love. Denai's performance here is so fantastic. It's her whole mission is to keep the king safe.
And that's the first time somebody who there's that, and it's also a lead character who just had his franchise blow up, and this is not going to be secondary players, right?
Yeah.
What was interesting there is that not only is it the horror of who goes, who disappears in this random act of violence, but how the people who are left behind feel.
Well, that's what even if somehow you scratch that, I don't get sad when sad things happen. nearly as much as I get sad when I watch people like Denai reacting to sad things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as Anne said, that her whole mission in life is to protect the king, and the king has disappeared in her arms.
Yeah. And then you remember, we have even more beloved heroes up in space.
Mm-hmm.
Will is such a tragic figure in this movie. He suffered so much in the film, and now he has to watch parts of his family go in front of him before he goes.
Steady, Quill.
There's a lot of pain in him as a character. A lot of who he is has been defined by pain.
Mm-hmm.
There was no other way.
I mean, all these characters lose things. That's sort of how they become our heroes. I can look at every person on the screen and tell you what they lost before they got to this point.
I don't feel so.
And here you go.
You're all right.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
Tony starts the movie talking about the possibility of having a child and effectively loses one at the end.
If I remember correctly, right, he was, I don't feel so good. Tony looked at him and said, I'm sorry, and disappeared.
Yeah.
And then the
It
day,
wasn't as drawn out like this.
we kept driving to put more and more emotion into it.
Yeah.
And just went up to Tom and said, you don't want to go.
That's
You're
great.
a child.
Yeah.
This is, and you're using your strength as Spider-Man to fight this. And then that was the performance that came out. It was pretty spectacular performance for a 21-year-old actor. And this is a colossal loss for Tony. Is that as snarky as his relationship is with Peter Parker, he cares deeply about him, and to have him die in his arms will change him forever. Certainly, Thor could have a lot of guilt about his actions moving forward.
He just went on the ultimate hero's journey, and it didn't work.
I always love
and here's the end of the hero's journey.
I always love the symmetry of Loki's "You will never be a god,"
and then Steve saying, "Oh God," it's always the last line of the movie.
Again, for our eagle-eyed viewers, you'll see to the right there, a scarecrow made of Thanos' armor.
Oh, I never saw that.
That is an homage.
I really got to see this in IMAX.
Yeah.
What do you know?
And
It's a very complicated performance from Brolin.
It is.
You know, it's like there's a certain sense of relief for him that he can rest, but there's tragedy.
And the score is very moving
hint
because it's not
pride.
necessarily sad.
Yes, satisfaction. Well, there you go. There's your kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Well, there's another one coming.
These are all the
next time.
These are all the wonderful people that brought you that kick in the nuts.
Mm-hmm. She kicked you in the nuts. Oh yeah, they definitely kicked you in the nuts.
Part of the difficulty in cinematic universes and serialized storytelling is how do you differentiate?
Mm-hmm.
And the choice in this movie, which I think was a very bold choice, and everybody really, to everyone's credit, from Marvel to Disney, really embraced the choice of ending a commercial movie in the most tragic and sad way that you could possibly end it.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time, I think, since we've seen a film on this scale where the heroes lost.
I mean, we point to Empire Strikes Back a lot. That was seminal for us. I was 10 years old and watched it, 6-7 times that summer.
Yeah. Well, and it's that resonance, and I think that there are things that you can deal with in fantasy that you can't deal with in real life. We live in a very complicated world right now. There's a complicated movie, and sometimes villains win. And I think that in storytelling, as important as a satisfying ending can be, it's also very important that there are times in your life where you go through emotional catharsis in a movie theater, watching a narrative that allows you to grieve for things in your life that you can't face or or don't want to face.
As far as hard as it is to have a villain win in a movie, it's much harder in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
And sometimes movies can help you with
that. Do we have a record for credits scene?
We must.
I'm dying to find out.
Well, who's in the top 10?
Here.
It is amazingly long. There's a long range of activities you can engage in.
Yes.
During the run of those credits.
And some amazing names, Oscar winners and Oscar-nominated actors and actresses as day players in this film.
Yeah.
So really a credit to Sarah Finn, who's cast all of the Marvel Universe movies. This is truly one of the greatest casts ever assembled for serialized storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And to our amazing crew now, you'll see there are thousands of names in this crew list. And a movie like this is not accomplishable without every single person that is recognized here. These are truly collaborative efforts. They require everyone working in concert together in support of one goal, which is telling the best story possible, making the best movie possible. And we couldn't have made it through all 4 of these Marvel films without all of the people.
Yeah, much of this group has been together for 4 movies.
And put in a year and a half in Atlanta just making this movie every day like a lifestyle more than a job.
Yeah. I did get a credit. I didn't realize that.
What's your character called?
Well, I think I'm more than Ross's aide, but I'll live with it for now.
I don't know.
Ross would be nothing without you.
There's Terry Notary's name, by the way, who's one of the foremost movement experts in the world.
That's right.
Who not only played Cull Obsidian, but was the movement advisor to everyone who worked in CG in the movie, especially and including Josh Brolin.
And a memorable day where he played Doctor Strange's cape.
That's right.
And did it. He became a cape. I defy you.
One of the most amazing things about these credits is that if you look through them long enough, you will eventually find your own name.
That's right. I think I see the Soul Stone.
We named every human on Earth.
But I honestly think it has to be a record because even if you want to go back to Gone with the Wind or Lawrence of Arabia, we have whole departments that did not exist then.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, the biggest departments.
Right. Well, VFX, alone, I think we used, every major VFX company in the world as involved in this movie in some way. I think we had upwards of 15 to 20 vendors working on the movie and thousands of shots. It was arguably the biggest workload in VFX history. Accomplished by Dan DeLue, and his team of incredible people, Victoria Alonso, who helps and delivered all of these films. Most insane undertaking, I think, of anyone in movies in many decades. The way that she delivers these films and how much work goes into delivering these films, the VFX in these films, and the post-production and the score. And they've done 18 of these in a decade.
And there'll be 22 by next year.
One of my favorite things about sitting through the screenings is, when the single credit cards end and this credit roll begins, audiences have become accustomed to that being a traditional spot in a Marvel movie where a tag shows up. And when there is none there, you sometimes get a visible gasp or an audible gasp from the audience.
But that's by design. We talked about that. Did you? The idea that we wanted audiences to really sit with this ending. We assumed or hoped they wouldn't walk out until the very end. So that now you're sitting in a darkened room with a couple hundred other strangers dealing with what you just saw. And hopefully you were surprised and you're a little hurt. And I know there are, 10 and 12-year-olds all around me who were really misty and sobbing up. And so we won't give you any hope until the very end and give you just the briefest little taste of what might be to come.
Yeah. That was reflective of our commitment to the commitment to it. Yeah.
That's right. Don't take it away so quickly. Yeah. I would like to go to the bathroom, though.
Yeah.
You can't. There
can't.
might be a
You owe Ken Rupinian your
Again, I was talking
respect.
about somebody told me their grandmother. They were talking to on the phone to their grandmother, and their grandmother had just seen the movie, and the grandmother was like, "Now, whatever you do, make sure you stay around to the very end. I mean, the very end. After all the credits, don't leave."
Again, it's a
Thanks,
testament to
Grandma.
Marvel. They've trained segments of the audience that the movie's not over yet.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, it is a staggering amount of human beings who get together to make a movie like this. That is, I think more people made it than watched it.
Each one of these visual effects houses was responsible for different aspects of the film. Digital Domain was responsible for Thanos. Weta was responsible for the fight on Titan. ILM was responsible for the fight on Wakanda. So you have to take large chunks of the movie and parse them out to each company because the workload is so significant. They're each dealing with hundreds of shots, and shots can take months, if not a year, to execute. So there's a lot of the large-scale shots in this movie that need to be delivered, to the vendors a year before the movie comes out.
We're sitting through the credits, and my 8-year-old said, "Dad, do you know all these people?"
You're the boss of every
some of them.
The iterative process behind VFX too is that, they will create what we call a blocking pass, where we'll just see the most loose animation of the blocking for the shot. Once we sign off on the blocking of the animation, they then proceed to, baking the shot and baking in the lighting and the texture and the photorealism, which could take many, many weeks. So we have to approve animation, which can take several passes. And then once we approve animation, they start baking in all those elements I talked about. We then sit there and review each shot as it comes in and give comments about the lighting or the photorealism or the color saturation. And then the passes are done on those shots over many, many weeks until we have to deliver the movie. As you can see there, we used a bit of Ludwig Göransson's incredible score from Black Panther. Ludwig is an old friend of ours from Community and Happy Endings. He scored Community and Happy Endings for us.
But also that Rubber Band Man, it's all Silvestri.
Oh yes, absolutely. Ludwig is also creative partners with Childish Gambino, who he also got, and he produces his music.
Right, here we go.
Finally get your respite.
Along with a little more tragedy.
We're watching every satellite.
Again, scenes do more than one thing, right? So it reminds you that, yes, this happened everywhere, not just on Wakanda or Titan.
Not
this
just
event
the heroes.
is everywhere. And give you a little sense of
Nick Fury and Maria.
That's right.
I've seen them in a while.
Fighting a good fight.
These movies are at their best when you're cross-pollinating genres, and I think this movie in particular was very unique in that it incorporates a lot of different movies into one movie. And certainly once he snaps his fingers, it becomes a horror film.
Right. Well, you're handheld here, so you're a little bit more like Winter Soldier and much of Civil War.
Yeah.
This feels...
We're trying to be in their point of view. We're trying to make this feel as realistic as possible. We knew we wanted to orchestrate it all in a oneer.
Is it a oneer?
From the time they exit the car.
It is. Okay.
So it's all happening real time for you because there's a ticking clock here. What's going to happen? What is Nick Fury going to do?
Right.
He's going to say
motherfucker. It was too easy not to.
What is
that? We must have done this shot at least a dozen times on set. It was a long shot.
Pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time we got the last, Nick Fury, of course, said the full. Sam Jackson said the full line for that last line every time, and every time everybody on set would just lose it every single time.
Cheer.
And of course, that symbol you just saw may or may not mean help is on the way.
Well, obviously Thanos is returning.
Mm.
Spoiler alert.
Thank
That
you.
also gets a
Thanks for
gasp.
listening.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, hope
And
you
we'll see you
enjoyed
in a
it.
year.
See you next
Yeah.
year.